Bonjour à tous
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new webinar devoted to Canada and Quebec. First of all, I'd like to say a couple of things. The first thing is to wish you a very happy new year for 2021. We hope this will be a year giving us a new start. And I'd also like to say that this webinar is going to be broadcast in French and in English. You have the choice of which language you want to listen to. There's a globe at the bottom of your screen. Its title is Interpretation, and you can choose English or French. So you have the choice between the two languages. I'll allow you a couple of moments there to select the language which you wish to listen to during our webinar, and then I'll be introducing you to our prestigious guests. So this webinar, we're calling it a webinar Destination Business, and it's devoted to Canada and to Quebec. It's been organized under the aegis of the Embassy of Monaco for the United States and Canada, based in Washington, D.C., as well as the Embassy of Canada in France and Monaco, based in Paris, and with the support of the Quebec Government Office in France and Monaco. That office is based in Paris. Canada is the second biggest country in the world, and it is integrated economically into the rest of North America thanks to a free trade agreement which was renegotiated in 2019. And it also has strategic links with Europe, Asia. In Europe, we have the CETA agreements, which date from 2018, and it has links with APEC and ASEAN, which are two organizations, one for cooperation with Asia and Pacific, APEC, and the other one is the ASEAN organization. Canada has a very resilient economy. Its GDP has taken up 8.9% over the last quarter of 2020. That was the highest increase over the past 60 years, and this is probably one of the best recoveries among developed countries. The most dynamic sectors of business are telecoms, tourism, internet, and aerospace engineering. More recently, we could mention AI and green tech. Those two sectors have become even more important over recent years, and we're going to hear more about that later on. Quebec is also going to be highlighted in our webinar, Quebec in Canada. The tax environment is very competitive there. Setup costs are very low. It has a very young, dynamic, and highly skilled workforce. So in short, Canada is a very promising country for businesses in the Principality, and we are really keenly waiting to go on a trade mission very, very soon to Canada. To describe all of the advantages of this wonderful country, we have 5 highly qualified people with us, with whom we organized the webinar. First of all, I would like to welcome and thank Her Excellency Isabelle Hudon, who's Ambassador of Canada to France and Monaco, and also personal representative of the Prime Minister of Canada for La Francophonie, which is French-speaking affairs. Good day to you, Your Excellency. Hello. I'm delighted to be with you. Thank you very much for inviting me. Well, thank you for being here. I'd also like to welcome Mrs. Michèle Boisvert, who's Delegate General of Quebec's Government Office for France and Monaco, and she's also official representative for the Prime Minister for La Francophonie. So welcome to you as well. Hello, I'm delighted to be with you, and thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. Thanks to you. To answer the written questions that we'll be receiving from you in real time, we have 2 specialists to complete our all-star team. We have Mr. Nicolas Lepage, who's Business and Investment Advisor at the Canadian Embassy here in France, and Mr. Julien Cormier, who's Chief Advisor, Economic and Commercial Affairs at the Quebec Government Office in Paris. And from Monaco, I would like to welcome Her Excellency Maguy Maccario Doyle, who's Ambassador of Monaco to the United States and Canada in Washington, D.C., and she will be bringing her expertise of both cultures, and she will also be giving us a few words of welcome very soon. Welcome, Your Excellency. Thank you very much for participating. Thank you, Guillaume. I'm delighted to be with you, even if it's just virtually. I also have with me Justin Hyman. He's the Deputy CEO of the Monaco Economic Board, and he is going to be passing on questions from you. We've received some questions already from the members of our organization, and we'll also, we are open to receiving more questions during the webinar. So I'm going to hand the floor over immediately to Her Excellency, Mrs. Maguy and Maccario Doyle. Well, thank you very much, Guillaume, Rose, and all of the entire team of the MEB for a warm welcome. I'm really honored to be participating in this MEBinar with Her Excellency Isabelle Hudon and the Delegate General of Quebec's Government Office, Madame Boisvert. I'd also like to commend the two advisors, Nicolas Lepage and Julien Cormier. Canada and Monaco have very special friendly relationships and have done so for a long time, and also diplomatically, because in 1926 the first honorary consulate of the Principality of Monaco in Canada was opened in Montreal, and the relationship has been enriched over the years. We've had so many opportunities to work together. In 2008 we had an embassy that was founded there. Our relations are fueled by joint interest for challenges in terms of the climate, the environment, and French-speaking affairs and international development, but also for different ways of developing business and culture, such as digital technologies, finance, tourism, education. There are many young people from Monaco who choose to go and do their university studies in Canada. When I first, or since I started my mandate as the non-resident ambassador to Canada, I've been able to go with His Serene Highness Prince Albert II to Canada on several occasions. One visit was to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Canada in September 2017, where for the first time there were the prizes of the Prince Albert II Foundation were handed out for protecting the environment, and there was a gala which was held in Montreal. In 2018, to mark the 10th anniversary of our diplomatic relations, I also went to a bilateral meeting in Ottawa between His Serene Highness and Justin Trudeau. That was an opportunity for the Prince and the Prime Minister, who both share an interest in the environment, to talk about commitments taken within the Paris Agreement, to talk about threats linked to climate change and also what's going on in the Arctic and the Antarctic, and to talk about protecting the oceans. The poles, of course, are key benchmarks for what's going on with global warming, and Canada is on the front line there, and the Prince Albert II Foundation is also very busy working along those lines, and in 2006 created a branch in Montreal. This month, Canada and Monaco have once again demonstrated their solidarity by joining 50 other countries in Paris in the HAC for Nature and People at the One Planet Summit, which was organized by French President Emmanuel Macron. But there's another area which we are both interested in, and that's space, which today has become a key element in day-to-day life. The proof is that telecoms, navigation by GPS, observing the Earth and studying our planet, and the science of space, biology and astrobiology all depend on the launch of satellites. Canada is internationally recognized for its contribution in this field, and the Principality is also aware of the importance of this sector, because it has also, well, in 2015, with the company SSI, which is set up in Monaco, it placed in orbit a geostationary satellite above the equator. It's called Monaco Sat-1. And last September, with a company called Orbital Solutions, we launched the first nano satellite that was built in Monaco. It's called Cicero 2020, and its role is to collect meteorological data. There's also Astrolab Venturi, which is an American company, which is based also in Monaco, as well as being present in the United States, and that focuses on creating and selling fleets of rovers, space rovers, which will be traveling around the moon and Mars. So with this in mind, His Serene Highness's government has been studying the possibility of creating a space bureau in Monaco, and possibly in the future a space agency. So this initiative would confirm our country's active role in launching different space projects which are so innovative, which pertain to science and Earth observation, whilst also offering sustainable economic activity. The Monaco Space Association has been founded by the CEO of Orbital Solutions to promote aerospace activities that organization goes to Monaco schools and also joins in discussion forums to talk about the aerospace industry and is in contact with other associations abroad. I think that this sector gives an opportunity to both of our countries to work together and enjoy synergies. We share common goals along these lines. We will be able to work together even more closely in the future thanks to space and space exploration. So without further ado, I would like to hand the floor to Her Excellency Isabelle Hudon. The floor is hers. I'd like to thank you for joining us here and for listening to us. Well, thank you so very much, Your Excellency, and thank you to the MEB. I'm really happy to be with you virtually. I'd like to thank Guillaume Rose, the CEO of the Monaco Economic Board. I would like to commend um, Michèle Boisvert, of course, as well, for being with us here. She's the Delegate General of Quebec's Government Office. And there are about 100 participants at the MEBinar today. And I know that we have Caroline Pratt, who is listening. She's an honorary consul who's based in Monaco. Allow me to start by setting the picture. As Guillaume has already mentioned, quite rightly, Canada is the second biggest country after Russia, with a population of 37 million inhabitants. Canada has 10 provinces and 3 territories. They are organized into separate regions. The first region is by the Atlantic. Thanks to the coastline and natural riches, we have New Brunswick, New Scotland, and Newfoundland and Labrador mean that there's plenty of fishing, farming, forestry, and there's also an oil and gas industry. We have the Atlantic province, which plays an important role in the history and the development of Canada. The second region is the center of Canada. We have Ontario and Quebec there. They form that region. Over half of the population of the country lives in the towns and villages in the south of Quebec and around Ontario. And of course, my colleague Michèle Boisvert will be telling you a bit more about that, talking to you about Quebec. Let's talk about the prairies, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta. These are the prairie provinces. They have a lot of energy resources at their disposal. They have farming land, which is so very, very fertile. The fourth region is the West Coast. We have British Columbia, which is known for its majestic mountains, and it is the gateway into Canada and the Pacific. There are billions of dollars worth of goods which transit through the port there. We have the biggest, busiest port in Canada there. Goods enter there and leave there for the rest of the world. We have the Northern Territories also. The Northwestern Territories, the Yukon, for example, occupy 1/3 of the land mass of Canada. However, the population corresponds to 100,000 inhabitants only. There are gold mines there, there are lead, copper, diamond mines, we have zinc mines also, and there's also oil and gas there, which is currently being taken out of the ground. I would like to share with you 3 messages. The first message is to remind you how solid our budget is, how resilient Canada is, as Guillaume pointed out when he first introduced the subject. Second point, I would like to sum out the main avenues for recovery in the context of COVID. Thirdly, I would like to illustrate our plus points, and I'll talk about 2 key sectors which could be interesting for you. We've got digital technologies, including AI, and of course, Maguy will be able to talk about the aerospace industry as well. So let's talk about the budgetary solidity and our solid economy. So COVID has changed the game plan for everybody, but the Canada's economy should bounce back to attain growth of 5% very rapidly. We'll have a GDP returning back to 2009 levels by 2022, we are resilient and the economy will be able to face the pandemic. Canada has taken immediate measures, decisive measures to support private individuals and also businesses. That initiative has been possible because Canada has a very solid financial position. So a massive, fast response by the government to the crisis, $320 billion in support. Despite the support which has been given to citizens to face this pandemic, Canada has held on to its AAA credit rating. Almost two-thirds of the jobs which were lost in February and April 2020 due to COVID were recuperated by the end of the month of August in over half of those jobs were full-time jobs. International trade is also catching up. Imports have reached their level that they had before the pandemic, whereas exports are taking their time, but they're getting there. Now let's talk about the priorities for recovery in Canada. The government is going to continue massively to support the economy, but the style of aid will be adapted. Rather than focusing practically exclusively on supporting revenue, the government is now going to invest massively. A budget is going to be presented in the spring, and it could include between 70 to 100 billion Canadian dollars of recovery measures. The priority in Canada is simple. We have to get through this crisis and we have to build a better future by investing. Our definition of better is very similar to that of France and Monaco. It includes speeding up the ecological transition, accelerating the digitalization of our economy, fostering the inclusion of all individuals who have been affected by the crisis. And also we want to continue to consolidate our health system to fight this pandemic and to prepare, let's face it, let's get ready for the next pandemic. However, there is a major difference with Europe in our recovery plan. Canada wants to increase its immigration. Our goal for 2021 is to welcome 400,000 immigrants into Canada. So Canada is ready to do business and to welcome foreign investment. Canada is and will remain the best country in the G20 open to business for over the next 5 years. Canada ranks #1 among OECD countries for its appeal to entrepreneurs, thanks to its very welcoming and robust business climate. Now, the final message which I want to share with you is to talk about the strengths of Canada. They're constant and they are very impressive. Depending on the different plans which are being created, there's going to be synergy between Monegasque and Canada businesses. There are some very interesting sectors such as clean technologies and digital technologies with cybersecurity, fintech, artificial intelligence, and of course, apps in the space industry, as Maggie has mentioned. So we're going to be transiting to a new type of economy. So Canada works with all kinds of other partners in different countries for innovation.
So Canada is the ideal place for commercializing any kind of new technology. And of course, we are extremely specialized. We have huge natural resources. And talking about digitalization, of course, in Canada, we have the most important cities where this kind of activity is being carried out. So we have diversified activities concerning digitalization, of course. And talking about Toronto, Toronto is the second city in North America famous for the level of the digitalization technology and artificial intelligence. So Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and Ottawa. These are very important centers for digitization and artificial intelligence. And of course, Canada keeps on being the capital for talent. We have companies that are investing in artificial intelligence, and they also benefit the government support, which is extremely solid and important. And of course, the idea is that we want to keep on being number one or ranked very high in this type of classification. So business is welcomed in Canada. You have plenty of opportunities. And of course, the idea is to explore from right now what Canada can actually offer you. I would like to state once again that notwithstanding the current situation, we are open for business. We are waiting for you to come as soon as this will be feasible, to come and see by yourself what the nation and our province can actually offer you. So, of course, we also have signed this agreement to free trade with Europe. So this is a platform that will make all of your business grow right now. And of course, please consider Canada, come to Canada and try us. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Of course, we're going to exploit the opportunity, and we like this word very much, to exploit, of course, in a business fashion. So what you've actually said is extremely interesting and informative. Now, I will leave the floor to Madame Boisvert, the Delegate General of Quebec's government officer, and she's going to talk about province, La Belle Province. With the microphone, please, madam. Okay, thank you very much. Sorry. So I would like to say hello to Her Excellency Maccario Doyle, who is the ambassador of Monaco to the United States and Canada and Washington, D.C., and of course, Her Excellency Isabelle Hudon, ambassador of Canada to France and Monaco, and personal representative of the Prime Minister of Canada for La Francophonie, and also Mr. Guillaume, the Chief Executive Officer of the Monaco Economic Board, and all the people who are listening to us. And I would like to say it's a huge pleasure that I would like to talk to you today. I would like to be there with you on your territory, but unfortunately this is impossible today. I would like to explain my role. I am the General Delegate, and I have the mandate and privilege of representing my state in France and Monaco to understand the interests involved in all different domains of social policies, for example, and obviously economic instances. We have an office in Paris. We have 55 people working, high professionals and huge engagement. And before talking about the vitality and the attractiveness of my country, I would like to tell you about the international dimension of Quebec. Let us go back to the 60s when we had our quiet revolution. Of course, Quebec wanted to be associated to other French-speaking nations, obviously France. And so the president back in those days was Charles de Gaulle, and he shared the desire to help Quebec to become very close, to have a very close relationship with France. So it was a direct and privileged relationship between France and Quebec. And then, of course, we also had back in those days, André Malraux, who was the French Minister of Cultural Affairs, and Jean Lesage that inaugurated the Maison de Québec in Paris. So this is how this relationship got started. And this is why, the reason why we have this inauguration in Paris. In 1964, La Maison de Québec became the Quebec Government Office. and it was gifted with diplomatic privileges and immunity, like those that have been attributed to the countries that signed the Vienna Convention. And then we have organized regular meetings between France and Quebec, starting in 1977. And so this is a direct and privileged kind of relation which became strategic and structural, like Emmanuel Macron stated in March 2018. So Quebec, we're talking about 8 or more million people, is a federal state within the Canadian Federation. And we have our own international policies, which follows the doctrine, which is called the Paul Gérin Lajoie, after the name of the minister that announced it in 1965. So this law states that we have international prolonging of the competences of Quebec vis-a-vis the international environment. So today we have 33 representations in 18 different countries in order to defend our language, our culture, our interests, obviously economic ones. And of course, I represent my prime minister for the French-speaking instances. So this year, Quebec is celebrating 60 years of official presence in France. We have seen institutions, organisms, and enterprises develop economic, scientific, cultural partnerships in all different domains of activity. We know that the relation with the Principauté of Monaco is more recent. It dates back to 2008, but it is not less important. The Quebec and the Principality of Monaco have pay specific attention to environmental and maritime issues, and of course all the different Nordic instances. So in 2017, we've had the honor of welcoming His Serene Highness Prince Albert II. An important congress was organized in the economy in 2019. The University of Sherbrooke in Quebec has awarded His Serene Highness a doctorate honoris causa for his interest and implication in preserving the environment. Currently, there are more than 300 electric bicycles called monobike coming from Quebec, Quebec technology that are now being used in the Monaco Principauté. And also, for example, Umbrella, a leader in construction in height without any cranes, is going to build a 47-floor tower in Monaco. So this is just to show that we have this ongoing relationship that we call a green relationship. And in the past month of March, Quebec was also invited in the 2020 Printemps des Arts. Unfortunately, we cannot put it this way due to the COVID. Now, the COVID pandemic has obviously not spared Quebec. We've had more than 250,000 cases as of today. And of course, François Legault rapidly started with sanitary measures and a lockdown that started on the 24th of March 2020 that stopped all different activities that were not considered essential. And of course, 40% of all activities closed down for 8 weeks. And of course, the Prime Minister talks to the population with sincerity and empathy. We have managed to mobilize the citizens in order to make them understand and apply the most efficient methods in order to fight the pandemic. Quebec is presently experiencing a second wave, and of course, however, the curve is now dropping since a week, more or less. And we have started the vaccine campaign the 14th December 2020, and we're going to try to be as thorough as we can. Of course, obviously, prudence and discipline, of course, are fundamental. Now, before the sanitary crisis, the economy of Quebec was behaving in a wonderful manner. We had an effervescent labor market, and productivity was increasing very rapidly, as well as the salaries that were actually increasing faster than inflation. And now, of course, we're extremely open and towards the exterior, towards exports. Of course, we've had a brutal fall due to the pandemic in 2020. However, we have an important budget deficit for 2021. However, the six main rating agencies in the world consider Canada and Quebec AAA, between AA and AAA. And of course, we believe that in 5 years' time, we're going to go back to normal. And according to the government, the growth should bounce back with a 5% growth. 4,000 enterprises have already received the financial support from the Quebec government since the beginning of the pandemic. And in November 2020, the government Delegate has proposed a relaunch program in order to invest massively in enterprises that work in innovation, digitalization, and automation. So we have 5 sectors that I'm going to present, and these are key. First of all, the Quebec aerospatial industry, that is at the ranking 6 in the world, behind the United States, France, Germany, United Kingdom, and Japan, with 98% of the aerospatial activity that is concentrated in Aero Montreal, thanks to the historic presence of Bombardier and now Airbus Canada. The metropolitan region is the 3rd world pole for aerospatial activities after Seattle and Toulouse. And these sectors, of course, have been hugely affected by the pandemic, but they should pick up again in a very little time. The other important sector is digital technologies. So we're talking about the development of softwares, microelectronic, optic photonics, fintechs, telecommunications, cloud services, and cybersecurity. And these are the sectors where Quebec wants to keep on being important. And of course, we have a huge concentration of university researchers in Canada, and Montreal today is a pole of experts worldly famous in research in artificial intelligence, thanks to what has been done in the past. And of course, we have another important sector, which is life sciences. And this groups is 150 enterprises in the sector of biopharmaceutics, diagnostics, medical equipment, and technologies linked to health and artificial intelligence. Of course, we want to benefit as far as we can by moving, and also moving very, very fast towards a green economy, because this is going to be the most important change that we can make. Of course, we have a huge production of clean energy, and of course, we have a 99.8% of energy coming from renewable resources, usually mainly hydroelectricity. And of course, the availability of this clean energy, which is abundant and very cheap, explains why in Quebec we have 9 out of 10 aluminium smelting plants. So we are the first green aluminium producer in the world. And of course, in the plan for a green economy, the Prime Minister, François Legault, wants to strengthen his engagement in reducing the level of emission of greenhouse gases by 37.5% from here to 2030. So, and we want to become carbon neutral by 2050. So we also want to become extremely green. We want electric transports. We want to use renewable energies in industrial, commercial, institutional, and residential sectors in order to limit the imports of fossil fuels. So, of course, we also have a Quebec plan for the enhancement of critical minerals that are also considered strategic. and which are part of our natural resources. Quebec is a huge territory, and only 1% is exploited, and 5% has a mining permit. We have a huge variety of metals and minerals such as copper, diamonds, iron, lithium, nickel, niobium, gold, phosphates, rare earths, and zinc. So Quebec has a list of 22 minerals that today are considered strategic, as far especially interesting for also the political ideas of the country itself. And of course, for you, if you want, lithium is extremely important for the battery pipeline. So of course, we want to transform, we want to enhance the recycling of critical and strategic minerals. I hope that a brief overview has triggered your interest in coming to visit us here in Quebec. In February 2020, my economic team has established first contact with the dynamic team of Mr. Rose. It was the opportunity to talk about foreign investments between Quebec and the Monegasque community. So we are absolutely available, and we can help you in if you want to organize an economic mission. And we can also tell you about the best opportunities for investment on the Quebec territory. So please be assured that it will be a huge pleasure for me and my team to welcome you in order to develop and to build this new green relationship as soon as it will be possible. So I will stop now. Thank you very much. We can contribute to relaunching both of our economies and also improving the environment we live in. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Delegate General of Quebec's Government Office, for that really full and complimentary presentation. Her Excellency the Ambassadress gave another picture too. So thank you very much to both of you. Thank you to the Quebec and Canadian teams. You're welcome here in Monaco at any time. We'd love to see you over here. At the end of the year, we hope to take some Monegasque business men and women to Quebec and to Canada. And we look forward to doing a return match. So we'll go and we'll come and see you over there, and you're very welcome to come and see us over here. We would be delighted to welcome your entrepreneurs. So now the presentations have been made. However, the webinar still will continue because we have a whole list of questions that have come in because Quebec and Canada are of great interest to our members. So we have Justin Hyman, he's our question master, and he's going to take the floor now, and I'm going to ask him to talk to us about the questions which he has managed to log up. Well, thank you very much, Guillaume. Thank you, Your Excellencies, for those wonderful presentations. We've got a record-breaking number of questions here. We're going to see if we can fit them all in between now and the end of our webinar. First of all, Madam Ambassadress, you've talked about immigration, 400,000 immigrants you're hoping to welcome in 2021. What about your present work visa policy? Is there a list of professions which are preferred, desired, for which it's easier to get a visa? And what is Canada's policy towards retired people? So let us know about your visas and your approach to retired people. Well, thank you very much for those questions. Justin? Well, you attended the first presentation I ever made in Monaco when I took on this role some 4 years ago. It's lovely to see you again. So yes, let's talk about this question of immigration. As you probably know, for the time being, due to COVID, our borders are hermetically sealed. However, there are a few exceptions for those who have work permits. And there are no sectors that are favored. You have to either have a Canadian passport or you have to have a work permit. Right now, as far as the retired population is concerned, we don't really have a rule or any measures which favor the arrival of retired people in Canada. We are a big and open country. We welcome active workers and also the retired. We welcome a lot of students. And I know that a lot of students are attracted by Canada. And there are many Monégasque students who come to Canada. Quebec is really popular among foreign students, but increasingly, foreign students are going to other provinces also. And I would just like to say to those who are asking questions about immigration, who can enter, etc., I would like to refer you to our website. We have developed an entire page of questions and answers, which covers all of those questions which are most frequently asked. There's a lot of concern, worry about those people who wish to travel to and move around Canada. It will all be answered on that website, I believe. And if it's not covered, your question is not covered, then there is a chat. So don't hesitate to go to our website with your question. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Yes, I see that Julien Cormier and Nicolas Lepage have left their email addresses in the chat column of our webinar, so don't hesitate to contact them. They are so very dynamic. A second question for the Delegate General. When two territories are developing business relationships, air travel is so very important. Could you say a little bit to us about the air travel between Quebec and Nice, the airport we have here in Nice? Well, yes, great question. Before the crisis, Air Canada did operate a daily flight between Nice and Montreal from June to October. Air Transat also had a route between Nice and Montreal throughout the summer season. There's also Air France, a daily flight from Paris to Montreal, and Corsair is another airline which just before the crisis had announced a route between Paris and Montreal, but things of course changed with COVID. There are other flights from other European cities, Zurich, Frankfurt, Geneva, Amsterdam, London, for example. And it's important to say that Air Canada has constantly been flying out of Montreal since the beginning of the COVID. I think in Monaco, you wondering about this link between Quebec and Nice, but that link exists and it's good for us all. Indeed, Quebec, Canada are easy to get to by air. A third question about legal structures for the ambassadors. What kind of legal structures? What are the best business forms? What are the related tax situations for companies setting up in Canada? Well, that's a very broad question, of course. I would say that we have a legal system, legal structure, which is clearly defined, and it corresponds to different priorities. If you're interested in this question, I really would recommend that you get in touch with a tax expert and with a lawyer. If you take professionals who are based, for example, in Monaco or in France, make sure that these professionals know our Canadian system very well and make sure that they know the systems in the different provinces in Canada. I would also say that it would be good for you to talk with bankers so that you can understand what similarities there are and what differences there are between our different banking systems, between Europe and Canada. It's easy, I would say. I'm putting some quotation marks around there. People say it's always difficult to work with the government. I've heard that said many times. However, I would like to say that it's easy to identify which bracket you'll fall into. There is a lot of work to be put in, education, of course, a lot of information to take on board. But once you've taken that decision, and if you've got the right support, then Canada will not be a tricky place in terms of administration. Well, thank you very much, Your Excellency. A fourth question here for the Delegate General. In your opinion, what do Monaco and Quebec have most in common? Well, I would just like to congratulate Isabelle for her answer. Well done, Isabelle. Yes, I was expecting this question, so I've asked my team to prepare me a little bit. At our government office, we focus on air and space, fashion. And when we look at the Monaco market, we note that there's a lot to be done with fintech in that section. Montreal is one of the 25 fastest growing financial sectors. We've got 7,000 businesses, thousands of jobs. Another sector where there can be affinities between Quebec and Monaco is the maritime sector, with transport logistics, security, cyber security also, which is another piece of common ground. Quebec is present in Monaco with Monobike, and there's another company as well. But we have a company called Chantier Chiboumou, which is trying to work with France and which could find a role in Monaco. That's for sustainable construction, constructions in wood, for example, which is so very important. And that particular business has a quality of wood and a technology that means even with transport, the prices remain competitive and the carbon footprint is also very advantageous. And in terms of infrastructures, a polycar, which offers a whole range of different possibilities. Polycor has worked in many areas. It participated in the Empire State building, the Place de Trocadero in Paris, and I'm sure that that construction company could play a role. So fintechs, maritime sector, and construction in terms of sustainable materials. I think those are opportunities and synergies. Yes, indeed. Great to hear about those synergies. So we've got a question about education, which you mentioned that earlier on, Your Excellency. One of our members has a question. My daughter, a Monegasque girl, is studying at McGill University in Montreal. There are 3 different types of schooling, one for the residents of Quebec, one for Canadians who don't live in Quebec, and there's another one for international students. The school fees are 6 times higher for my daughter, who comes from Monaco, than for a French student, because the Quebec government has signed an agreement with the French government to ensure that French students can have that advantageous rate. Would it be possible for that same agreement, for those better rates, could be applied to students from Monaco? So that was for the Delegate General, of course, that question. Well, yes, I did talk about the relationship between France and Quebec for the past 60 years on an official basis, and education has been the foundation. That was the first link that we had between Quebec and France. As I said, Quebec was going through its quiet revolution. Several French professors came to Quebec, and there were exchanges of students. There's a lot of action between France and Quebec, and there is that agreement, which means that French students can have advantageous rates and fees in Quebec. We are in a relationship with Monaco, but not for such a long time. And that is a question that can be addressed. Of course it can. We have very strong links with the Ministry of Education here. So we could take a look at that. But these are agreements that have to be prepared over time. But I will put that question. You can count on me. I will talk to the Ministry of Education about that. Thank you very much, Madam Delegate General. A new question from another member. For Her Excellency, I produce spirits here in Monaco. We have a Canadian distributor who's based in Toronto. Dates recently. However, they cannot get our spirits linked on the sites of the two biggest retailers, wholesalers, LCBO and SAQ in Canada. Can you do anything to unblock that situation? We really want to work with Canada because Canada is the biggest importer of orange liqueur in the world. And we have a homemade orange liqueur made here in Monaco, and I'm sure the Canadians would love to drink it. So can you help us to get it to the Canadians? I've got a short answer and a longer answer. My short answer is persevere. My longer answer is let me explain that in Canada, the sale of spirits and wines in some provinces such as Ontario and Quebec, it's a state company, it's organized by the government, whereas in different provinces, it's not the case. So I would say that to get your wonderful orange liqueur on the list of the SAQ or the LCBO in Ontario, you need to persevere, because there are many countries with wonderful products who have been waiting for a long time to get on those lists. So persevere, keep at it, be present, communicate with the management of those two companies, state companies. I would say wherever I go, in France, to Burgundy, or if I go to Bordeaux, wherever I go in France, people are always talking to me about this question. There is a real barrier, but you can get over that hurdle if you persevere. I would just like to add to something which Michèle said about the key sectors, just to kind of close that loop with what Maggie said as she was introducing the subject and the aerospace industry. Maggie in Canada, several years ago, we started to think about how important it is to take a strategic stance in this key area. And from that came a series of decisions, investments, and we attracted big companies to Canada, including to Quebec. One of the major decisions by the government was to create the Canadian Space Agency, and that agency is based in Quebec. But you're right to have these ambitions and these hopes, and it would be great for you to visit the Space Agency, but working with Michèle Boisvert, we could perhaps expose you to one of the most dynamic clusters, and it's called Aero Montreal. So there are the big companies, and all of the big players in that sector are enclosed or part of a cluster, an aerospace cluster, and you should get in touch with them and take advantage of their knowledge. Well, perhaps we can have a webinar on that specific subject. I was just going to say that we have members of the Monaco Economic Board who are involved, who are in the space industry, in the Principality. So yes, that would be a wonderful opportunity. Thank you very much, Isabelle. Well, yeah, fabulous suggestion. Of course, at the time being, the sector is suffering. However, it is one of the key sectors in Quebec, and there is a great cluster. It's very dynamic. Well, artificial intelligence, of course, as well. Same applies. We've got a final question for both of your excellencies, or for Madame Boisvert and so Quebec is a place of innovation, as we've just heard. Could you please explain to us the reasons for that? Why is it so dynamic? Is it because of the policy decisions? How can you explain how you have so many innovative projects? The same applies here in Monaco. So it's good for us to hear what your ideas are and what your strategy has been. Michèle, may I start? Oh, yes, of course, go ahead. I would say that we have a huge country with a very small population. So we have really had to be extremely creative to get things going and get our economy up and running. Second point, a political commitment at federal level, but also at the level of each province to want to attract the best, to fund and support innovation, including through a tax credit for research and development. And third point, our higher education system is extremely rich. It's so robust also. And we have universities and colleges which attract students from all over the globe. And I have to say that that mix with our Canadian students and the students from all over the world, that mix is absolutely wonderful. It nourishes creativity, it attracts investment, and it creates a melting pot of ideas. And I would say that the genesis comes from the fact that we are a very big country with a small population and a lot of resources. And to turn our country into a country that evolves and grows, well, we had to take political decisions to make our country and the provinces open and welcoming to innovation. Well, excellent answer, Isabelle. I would add, speaking for Quebec, that the universities in Quebec, in Montreal, for example, we have 4 universities, excellent universities. We've got Laval University in Quebec, which is so competent and innovative. I think that as far as Quebec is concerned, universities are very favorable for innovation and research. We've talked about prize-winning researchers at our universities. So it really is a characteristic of Quebec. And we work in clusters. We've talked about the aerospace cluster in Montreal. We have universities which are linked in with the business community, tied up with young startups, and that really does create a dynamism, and so that we can work more and more like that. We've got these clusters which are very rich. We've got the businesses, we've got the startups, we've got the universities, and that's very good for innovation. That's the way we work. And as Isabelle has already said, that reflects the government's commitment to set up these tax incentives, tax credits, and the recovery plan, and which fosters investment by business in innovation and in automation, etc. It really is a political commitment to see Quebec's economy become more productive, and we can rely on the universities.
Thank you very much for these extremely exhaustive answers and also very, very precise answers. So thank you very much to all of you. Thanks for the presentation and for the answers. I believe that our entrepreneurs have managed to gather a very interesting picture of all the different proposals coming from Canada and Quebec, and how this destination could actually, in the future, propose very interesting business opportunities, either from Monaco, from other places, kind of possibility for our future, huge possibilities and opportunities. Now, if you want to know more and if you need addresses and the different links. Of course, you have the links to the different embassies. So do not hesitate to get in touch with these embassies. These are very dynamic people, very nice people. They're willing and eager to cooperate with us, the Canadian Embassy in Paris, as well as the General Delegation in Paris, or the Quebec government officer in Paris. So I invite you all to come back in the month of February, because we're going to have another destination plan. We're going to have a MEBinar that will be focusing on Serbia. So we're going to have the Serbian authorities that will be present, and they will present the opportunities that Serbia offers. And then we're going to have another webinar. We're going to have a digital workshop. It's called Espace Jaune, or green, yellow space. And this is to understand how your market can be developed on the internet. So, and also we have a cooperation with the Monegasque entrepreneurs in Africa. So there again, we are also going to have an insight on the scenario that Tunisia can actually offer. So thank you very much to all the different excellencies, Madame Maguy, Maccario, Doyle, Madame Isabelle Hudon, Mrs. Michèle Boisvert. So thank you very, very much. And once again, thank you all. So goodbye and thank you.